Automatic drawing is a way of expressing what's going on in the subconscious by randomly drawing lines on a page. And that might sound a little hokey, but it is an incredibly freeing and beneficial art exercise. And in this video, I am going to walk you through your very first automatic drawing, and I'm going to share tons of reasons why you should be incorporating this into your artistic practice. Ready? Let's go. So we're going to start by setting the stage. We're going to prep our space, prep our materials before we get going. I am using a large sketchbook with pretty heavyweight paper. The pens that I'm going to be using are the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. This is my absolute favorite brush pen. It lays down a variety of weights just by the pressure of the pen. So if you take a look at this pen, it is a literal brush, and that can be a little tricky to get used to, but it allows you to create a much more painterly and expressive mark. And you can see like really thin lines, thick lines, a variety that changes from thick to thin. This can be really expressive. And also you can use the side to start painting in chunkier areas for a more primitive mark. I'm also going to be using a couple of the Derwent line makers, and these come in a weight of 0.05 to 0.8. I'm going to show you the differences in another sample here. So this is the 0.05. This is going to be great for really teeny tiny little lines, detaily, noodly lines that I'm not going to be able to get quite that fine and precise with the brush pen. And if I want some more variety to these little noodly marks, I can go all the way up to this thickness. And I've got just about everything in between. These pens will be linked down in the notes below, and if you choose to purchase these pens, please use my link. It's a great way to support the channel. Now, some other things that you might want to do to get your space ready, besides opening to a new spot in your sketchbook, is you might turn on a candle, you might turn on some music, set your space up so that you are inspired, so that you feel comfortable, and make sure that your space is decluttered. When your space is decluttered, your mind is decluttered, and you're going to be able to let go of your stress more easily. And that is one of the first benefits we're going to discuss as we start into automatic drawing. It's a great way to unwind and to de-stress. So I'm going to start with the brush pen. I'm going to turn on some music just on my headphones. I'm turning on a playlist called African Music, not one that I've listened to before, but I wanted something a little bit unexpected, and I'm excited to see where that's going to take me. So I'm going to begin by moving my hand over the page. It's very tribal. It's very rhythmic. And that's what I'm responding to right now. But I don't have a plan for what is happening here. I'm just moving. The second benefit that I want to discuss as I do this automatic drawing is that this is a great way to fight perfectionism. I don't know about you, but sometimes we sit down to a white page of paper and it can be so intimidating, and it's just hard to even start because what in the world would I ever what will I do? What am I going to make? Can it be perfect? Can it be as good as my last piece? And sometimes we just get stuck here. Ooh, I've got this like really rhythmic drum thing that's going on. I just have to stop and respond to that. Ooh, okay. But this kind of an activity is a great way to just let go of perfectionism. There is no right, there is no wrong. There's so many different ways of doing this, responding to this. No two are going to look the same. It's about the journey rather than the end product. And so for that reason, if you struggle with perfectionism, if you struggle with procrastination as a byproduct of perfectionism, this can be such a great activity to just kind of loosen that up and shake it off. I like this dry mark that I'm starting to get. And that's just a different way of using this brush pen. Now, one of the reasons that I'm using a variety of pens on this is so that I can explore so many different marks and so many different ways of making marks on my paper. And this is another one of the many benefits of automatic drawing. You are exploring line quality, especially when you take some time to look at this after you have finished the process. You can take an inventory of all the different marks that you've made, and you can move them into other artworks, other projects, and being free and playing with different materials in a way that allows your subconscious just to run wild and play. You're going to discover lines that you probably didn't even know you would make. I mean, these really expressive tribal lines are unique and new for me, and I'm just calling them tribal lines because I'm listening to tribal music, but it's a really nice way to discover new mark making techniques, and they were inside you all along. During this process, I want you to be mindful. Now, if you're unfamiliar with that term, mindfulness is being aware of the feelings, sensations, emotions that are coming up for you in a given moment, and just acknowledging them with compassion, not judging them. And right now, I'm personally feeling a little overwhelmed because I'm explaining this process. I'm listening to this very drum circle-y kind of music. I am also doing this automatic drawing, and I'm wondering if I'm actually in it enough because I'm explaining. It's become this very meta thing. And that angst is affecting my mark in a really cool way. I've taken a step back, and I am noticing that anxious feeling has created something brand new that's nice. And I'm also going to allow myself to let it go. I don't need to hold on to that anxiety. And I am going to try to explore some other feelings, other emotions. I'm going to try to let go of some of the stress, some of the expectation of delivering all this information perfectly to you. I mean, of course, I'm going to try my best, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm noticing that is helping me create a different kind of mark. Practicing mindfulness is a great way to handle kind of the uncomfortable and difficult emotions that we all struggle with. People that regularly practice mindfulness, that practice of acknowledging thoughts, feelings, desires, and letting them pass without judgment, they often have more enthusiasm for life, more joy, more happiness. And automatic drawing can be a great way of getting in touch with where you are, where your subconscious is at a given space and point in time. Now that you are a little bit more familiar with what automatic drawing is and what it entails, I would love to hear your thoughts about this. Particularly, how would you use this in your artistic practice, and what time of day would you be doing this? I have been doing automatic drawing every day for the last couple weeks, and I have tried a variety of different times, different parts in my creative workflow, different mindsets, different music, and I just want to hear all the ideas that you have about this. So leave those down in the comments below, along with any questions that you have about this process. I have found that automatic drawing, or intuitive drawing as it's often called, can be a great way of fighting any artistic block that you might be currently feeling. When you have artistic block, you often don't know why you're making art, what you should be making next, what you can add to the creative landscape. I mean, it can be so overwhelming to scroll through Instagram, see all the amazing things being made, and then think, what can I possibly contribute to all of this? And doing this kind of an activity shuts that over-analytical, over-judgmental part of your brain off, allows the subconscious to play. And as you're playing, it's very likely that creative ideas and thoughts start bubbling up. I really love the way that Elizabeth Gilbert talks about creativity and creative ideas in her book, Big Magic. She talks about ideas as being living, breathing things. And I love this because it kind of takes the pressure off of having beautiful, unique, amazing ideas coming from you. Instead, you catch these ideas that the universe sends your way, and then you have the opportunity to collaborate with the idea. And regardless of if that's how it works or not, it's a fun way to think about it from time to time, because it takes the pressure off of being super creative, of being a genius, and it allows you to be more of a vessel, and that can be kind of liberating. I really also like the way that she talks about receiving ideas, and that she always is very gracious and kind to the ideas that come to her. As you're working, perhaps you jot down some of the ideas that you have, and at a later time, you might consider which of these ideas make sense for you to unpack, and which ones are going to be unpacked by another human at another point. And to just, Elizabeth Gilbert actually thanks the ideas for coming into her life, for offering themselves to her. I can't say that I've ever done that, but I do think it's a beautiful sentiment, and to be grateful for the ideas that come. And she talks about being somebody that ideas want to work with. And I want to be somebody that ideas want to work with, that more ideas come my way, and being gracious and receptive and grateful when the ideas do strike can be a great way of doing that. And I have noticed, as I've been working on automatic drawing more recently, that the ideas are pouring in, that I often, like so many ideas, I don't have enough time to act on all of them. And that's a really great place to be. And I'm really grateful for that opportunity. So I am still just kind of allowing my hand to do whatever it wants. Often I'm like echoing lines that I see. I am and I don't have the music on right now. It's becoming like just a little too overwhelming to talk about it, talk about what I was doing, to listen to the music, to be responding to it. So I'm just kind of talking, and then like my hand is a completely different person. It's a completely different entity. Just doodling's the wrong word, just exploring the page, just curiously exploring. So when you get to a spot where you have a lot of material on your page, you might be wondering, okay, when am I done? Well, there's lots of different ways of doing this. You could set a timer and just say, okay, I'm going to draw for 20 minutes. And when those 20 minutes are up, then I'm done. Or you could draw until you don't feel like drawing anymore, or you feel like the drawing is complete. You could just draw until you're, oh, shaky dog. Okay, you could also just draw until you're bored. And if you're not bored after you kind of feel like this page is done, flip it over and continue going. So lots of different ways. There's no right or wrong. You can look at it from a compositional perspective and say, okay, I need some more weight here. I need some more line here. But I think analyzing it too much kind of takes it out of the realm of it being an automatic drawing, of it being a product of the subconscious. So for right now, I think it's close to being done. I do want to sit with it for a moment without talking. So I'm going to put the music on. I'm going to be with it for another moment. And while I finish up this drawing, I want to read you something that I found on the dailyartmagazine.com. Surrealists didn't want their art to have a motto, an important social message, or a historical theme. They didn't want their art to be controlled by a plan. They believed that our reason suppresses the subconscious. Therefore, they tried to avoid thinking about making art while making it. Have you ever been doodling while on the phone? Well, this is exactly the thing that Andre Mason was doing to make this series of automatic drawings. And I'm actually going to show you that image later in the video. He focused on doing something else, like talking on the phone, listening to the radio or music, and he doodled. At the end, he looked at his drawings and waited for the first association that his mind would suggest to him. This was his subconscious speaking to him. So at this point, I feel done. I feel like I've got some really interesting marks happening. I've really enjoyed the process, and I am at a point where I don't think it needs anything else. I'm going to share with you a few other automatic drawings that I've done, along with several images from artists of the Surrealist and the Automatist movement that actually pioneered this technique. But before I do, I'm going to invite you to click the like button. It's a great way to support the channel, and all it takes is one teeny tiny little click. Thank you so much. This drawing was created in 1924 by Andre Masson, one of the artists to come out of the Surrealist movement. Now, this isn't an art history lesson, but I'll show you a couple quick images of Surrealist paintings. They probably look familiar. If you're unfamiliar with Surrealism, think Sigmund Freud, think diving into the subconscious to find out what is motivating the human within. Surrealism is kind of this bridge between the real and the subconscious. Although there are definitely some unfamiliar aspects in this painting, there are also some familiar pieces like the horizon line that separates the sky from the earth. This ground plane anchors us in realism, whereas an automatic drawing is just pure subconscious. It has no need to ground itself in any type of reality. It's just subconscious expression. The first time I ever created artwork this way was in a workshop with Clive King, who was a visiting artist from Wales that came to my university undergraduate program. We taped huge paper up on the walls, like 4 by 4 feet, and he led us through this workshop of creating this automatic drawing. We started with the automatic line that I shared, and he had this really fast violin music going. Then he transitioned to giving us different prompts. Hide something in your painting, create a grid, draw on somebody else's, turn it upside down. It was a very interactive, big experience. And this is the artwork that came out of that workshop over a decade ago. There are lots of different ways automatic drawing can look, and there is no prerequisite skill required. And just to prove this to you, I did this activity with my kids. I gave them the materials, I turned on some music, and I let them go. And they had so much fun. They were completely engaged, and look at how this product turned out. This is a 4-year-old's drawing. You can do this. These are a few of my other automatic drawings that I did within a couple years of that workshop with Clive King. But I'm intentionally not sharing any of my most recent automatic drawings because those are all going to be released in the next video where I share my experience of doing an automatic drawing every day for 7 days, different media, different sizes, different music. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to see you there. So now that you've done your first automatic drawing, what are you going to do next? Well, one thing that you could do is you could journal about the experience and really synthesize what you've learned and how you're going to use it in the next drawing session. As you're journaling, or if you're just thinking or talking to a friend or a family member, you can start exploring how you could incorporate this into your next project. Maybe it's in an expressive background, or maybe you want to just incorporate more interesting line in your next drawing. The other thing that you can do is you can jump right into your drawing session from your automatic drawing. This can be a great way to warm up, to get your arm moving, to get your creative juices flowing, and then right into your workflow. And if you're looking for a few creative projects to get you going, you should definitely check out this video. This video is jam-packed full of creative exercises that you can do in 30 minutes or less, and you're going to love it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay curious and creative, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.